good evening. It's 5 o'clock. I'll call the order of the Village Board of Oregon for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. I would ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Higgins?
Here.
Kirchdorfer?
Here.
Knipfer?
Here.
McDaniel? Peterson?
Here.
Van Campen?
Here.
And Rick Marks is absent this evening.
Thank you. Item 3, approval of January 5th, 2026 Village Board meeting minutes, if correct, and correction mistakes, if any. Motion, Tom and Tim. Corrections, comments. Hearing none, we have a motion by Kirchhofer, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, public comparisons, comments, and communications. Public comment. This part of the agenda allows members of the public to provide information to the village board, including items both on and off the agenda. Anyone here for public comments? Seeing none. Item 5, approval of vouchers in the amount of $1,368,597.68. Motion to approve, Paige and Amanda. Questions? Okay, this is a roll call vote. We have a motion by Paige, second by Amanda.
Kirchdorfer?
Yes.
Peterson?
Yes.
Van Campen?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
And Knipfer?
Yes.
Thank you. Item 6, consent agenda. Items 6A through 6I. Staff recommendation, motion to approve. Amanda and Tim. Questions on these items? Tom?
Just one question on the services agreement with Maple Leaf for the mowing. I was a little surprised to see a 5% increase. It doesn't run true with the other costs of living and expenses that we're running. Was there a special reason why that jumped, or do we just need to pay attention next year to make sure that we don't have another increase?
So Lauren unexpectedly was out today. I'm sure she would have an answer. My guess is that was the first year they've done that work, and they were probably maybe anticipated some more cost than what they expected in their first initial go-around.
Okay, thank you.
In addition to inflation within that too.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion by Knipfer, second by Higgins. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, reports of committees and for discussion and or possible action. A, Planning Commission. 1, resolution number 26-01, establishing public participation procedures plan for amendments to the Village of Oregon Comprehensive Plan related to the Hillcrest Bible Church at 752 East Netherwood Road, annexation and expansion project. Commission and staff recommendation, motion to approve. Tom and Amanda. You have additional comments, Lisa, on this?
Happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure if we brought this annexation or this project in front of the board. Yeah, we've discussed it at Planning Commission a few times. We
Yeah.
have, okay.
Question, Amanda?
Yeah, I kind of skimmed this. I was going quick, admittedly, but is there an opportunity at the beginning for public input to say what they want it to look like, and then again after the draft plan is presented? I saw an opportunity for public input after they've come up with the plan for that park, but I didn't know if.
It's not the part.
Oh,
This is,
am I on the
This
right?
might be- Are you on the
You're one of
230?
Hillcrest Bible Church.
Oh, Hillcrest, never mind.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll provide an update on that
Okay, sorry
project
about
at the
that.
end of the meeting, yep.
Okay,
Wrong item.
that's all right.
I withdraw.
Someone else? Okay, motion by Knipfer, second by Peterson. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And B, Park Board. Authorize the release of requests for proposals, RFP, for planning, design, and bidding services for the Bethel Green Acre Park Improvement Project. Park and staff recommendation, motion to approve. Motion by Cooper, second by Tom. Okay, go ahead with your question.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, I basically asked it, but like, please outline the opportunities for public participation and input into the plan.
Sure. And Lauren was the author of this. I just kind of reviewed it a little bit and then we discussed it at Park Board last week. But we'd like to do an RFP, obviously, for Bethel Green Acre design this year. A chance to get some other landscape architects and park designers in the mix here. Also, potentially a very different type of park project than we've done in recent years. So, part of that process, as Lauren kind of outlined there, is some pretty robust community engagement, some stakeholder interviews with some groups that she's listed there, daycares in the area, things like that. The Nature Alliance, other groups that are interested in the future of that park, and then some more traditional kind of neighborhood, engagement meetings. Typically, how the park design process goes is there's a lot of, the interviews and the engagement up front, and then we typically kind of take it to largely Park Board through different design iterations. So at any of those interviews or meetings, we probably let folks know, this is how to stay engaged with Park Board. I think we have in here too that there's the potential we might want to add, if we want to have another neighborhood engagement meeting, with a concept or something. But yeah, the Park Board discussed this quite a bit last week, but having some initial, rather than kind of opening Pandora's box, having something for the neighborhood to respond to. So wanting to have some concepts developed, do we want it to go more of a passive park route or active park route? This is what some of those amenities could look like, and then get their reactions to, I like these elements of this plan, I like these elements of that plan, and then kind of working towards maybe some kind of a hybrid. But yeah, I think just with any of our other parks design, but especially with this one, because it's not an area that's really been touched in a long time. It's definitely a kind of a neglected, park, and there's a lot of water issues and other things too. So I think it definitely needs a refresh, and there's a lot of people that use this space, and it's walking distance to their homes and stuff. So hopefully we are able to get a lot of those voices captured in the feedback.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Other questions? Hearing none. We have a motion by Knopfer, a second by Kirchhofer. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 8, unfinished business, items for discussion and possible action. A, review proposals received from police department staffing and operational study, and consider firm selection. Staff recommendation, motion to select MGT Impact Solutions and direct staff to negotiate a contract for services. Motion by Higgins, second by Kirchhofer. Questions, comments? Or did you want to add anything, Martin? Or
If not,
Oh.
you guys want to do comments?
questions? Tim?
Yeah, I had a question. It seemed like a lot of the companies that weren't selected, even as a finalist, had a lot of local experience in Dane County. Was that not really something you valued, or were there other things with those folks that worked with Fitchburg, Madison, Middleton, where we could maybe get some feedback from them on how they did? Was that just not a...
No, it came down to a couple things. So when we did an initial evaluation, we took some firms off that we either felt were overly boilerplate or didn't feel like they had the right combination of skills in combination with the level of fee based on the range of fees that we got from 30 to 116,000. But what we really kind of saw was sort of these two archetypes where we had these national firms, had a lot of resources and a lot of backing behind them, and then another group of firms that was more of the regional sort of state-based experience and presence. And so when we kind of grouped those two, we ended up selecting MGT, and the other one was McGrath on the local regional side, because we felt like had the right set of skills. They were responsive to the RFP. So there was some that weren't necessarily in line with the things that we were asking for. Or there was some of them just straight up had errors and things like that in them. And so we felt like with MGT and McGrath that really kind of came down to the question of what more are we going to get from another firm, because these two firms were one of the better price points for those two different types of groups. What more are we really going to get from these other firms that these two firms aren't going to offer with those two sorts of backgrounds based on their price points? And so we felt like if we could interview those two and they met all the marks and what they appeared to propose, that we would probably get a good candidate at a good price point from one of those two. We ended up also interviewing a third firm, which was at Mark Stein. They had just such a different background, such a different approach that we felt like we wanted to get to know a little bit more about their perspective and how they would approach this. And so we ended up interviewing them because they were so much different than all the others. So that's what it really kind of came down to, was sort of trying to make sense of grouping them and then trying to grouping them based on qualifications, expertise, their approach, the quality of their proposal, the completeness in relation to the RFP itself, and then just where they sort of fell in the fees that they offered.
Anything to add, Chief, to that?
Yeah, I would completely agree with Martin. I would say the interviews helped a lot. That's one thing to put something in a report, but then to hear how they interpret data and how that impacts the results. And I shared this with Martin. In my opinion, the professional opinion, the questions that MGT asked were the ones, as a chief, I would ask. Questions about the record management system, pointing out that raw data is just that. It doesn't tell the whole story, and there are other ways to interpret that data and to add in other layers. So I would just add that as well.
One thing I'll add maybe more specifically to your question, Tim, is MGT bought a firm called GovHR USA, and that firm has done a lot of work in Wisconsin over the last many years. At least in my career, I can remember them being around doing different types of studies and recruitments for municipal positions. And MGT bought GovHR USA a couple of years ago, and so you might see a little bit more of that more local work had they focused on that. Now, the two individuals that would be on this study are former employees of GovHR USA that are now integrated within the MGT team.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Tom?
I had a couple of questions, and I support the MGT implementation and so forth, or negotiating for a contract with them. So I noticed in the RFP, our timeline suggested that we would be making a decision in December, and at this point, we're just getting to negotiate the contract. That puts us back into February before we even be seeing a contract. What's our timeline? And one of the reasons I liked MGT was their shorter. They had a 3-month timeline on their whole project, so that spoke in their favor. But what's our expectation for actual start on the project?
We asked the question in the interviews. They said they could start as soon as we get the contract settled and ready to go. I think I already have their draft contract, so it's just a matter of reviewing it now at this point. Once we get the blessing, if we get the blessing here from the village board, relatively straightforward. I would expect that we could likely have it on the next agenda here for February 2nd. So I don't think we're too far off from where we thought we would be. With the 12 proposals, I don't think we were expecting that much interest, and so it took a little bit more time to get through that, plus the holidays. So I don't think we're that far behind, and based on what they told us, they're ready to go whenever we're ready to go.
Okay. One other item on the packet, it's page 462. It's under 1.2 of their their proposed work plan and timeline. It said, based on data available from the village, data requests will be submitted to comparable Illinois communities. And I'm wondering, wouldn't we rather have more Wisconsin communities?
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
And that'll be a point of discussion. I mean, once we sit down with them and have a kickoff meeting, we'll talk through what their full approach is and what data they're going to use. And I would say that would be a point that I would address as well with them.
A thought occurred to me that it might be a word substitution error in their proposal.
It's possible, but
Yeah.
if we're negotiating a contract.
Right, no,
make sure
it-
it's when-
it definitely, yeah.
That we're talking, and it looks like they're gonna use communities that are recommended by the village, so.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good catch. Anybody else? Okay. We have a motion by Higgins, a second by Kirstover. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 8B, project fee proposal from Thice for the Oregon Area Senior Center rebranding project in the amount of $1,502 for additional name, concept, ideation, and brand development.
You read that wrong. It was 15,000.
What did I say?
I wish it was 1,500.
You said-
It's not.
Yeah, I should have pre-read that. Sorry, thank you for catching that. I'm just happy that I believe I pronounced ideation properly. I was so proud of that. Anyway, Rachel, did you have something to?
Well, I think the memo pretty well sets out where we are in this process. We have I guess, the choice to make now, whether you want Tycee to come up with additional ideas. I think it was December 15th meeting when we were here. There was the thought that you would like Tycee to come back with more ideas, more possible names. We met with Tycee and they're willing to do that. They think that a list of names is the next step that you guys probably will need to narrow down. And then from there, take it on to logo development or whatever. The work that they did up to December 15th was phase 1 of their original contract. So we're kind of asking them to start over again and do it again, along with coming up with a bunch of names to choose from. So I've been soliciting name ideas from my staff, from people I know. There's not necessarily, a name is a name, a word is a word, a list of words and possibilities. That's the next step. And how you want to move forward with that is up to you.
Okay. Board members, Tim.
I wouldn't mind seeing what other companies would offer us. I don't know how much that changes the timeline here, but I wasn't crazy about what Tycee came up with, and I just wonder if there's others that could come up with something that we'd like.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of money to spend again. I'd be willing to look at what they provided the first time again, and maybe we can patch something together that we all agree with, or, I don't know what kind of contract we've signed with Tycee to do this, but I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about it. I'll reserve my judgment, I guess, till we get other comments.
For clarification, Rachel, part of this is for the development of the name and the logo. Once we choose the name, the entire amount is not just for presenting a new list of names. Is that correct?
So the new names, coming up with that list, they have indicated a charge of $2,250. Then to take 2 or 3 of those. The original plan was that the board would narrow that down to 2 or 3 and have a community vote. But to take those names that, if you can agree on, say, 3 names and some taglines, and have them then create logos to go with those names, go through a couple of rounds of that. That's the Phase 3 brand development. That's another 13,475. You guys had initially indicated then that you would take it from there to invest some additional funds into collateral development of the brand and a fundraising toolkit. So there's another $15,400 down the road for collateral development of the brand and then that fundraising materials.
Okay. Well, sorry, I needed a clarification. So are we paying $15,000 for them to come up with new names and that's it, or is there something else in that?
15,675 for a list of names and taglines that are then narrowed down by the board to perhaps 3 of each names and taglines, which then Ticey takes and develops logos, colors, the whole sort of what you saw on December 15th, where you're seeing names, colors, fonts, styles. Does that answer your question, Phil?
Go ahead, who's first?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm a little lost here because what's the add here? I mean, are we adding $15,000 to this whole process?
Yes.
Or is,
Yes.
Well, we're adding 31,000, right?
Well,
Potentially.
If you choose to pursue those next phases, 4 and 5, so what you're adding is 15,725, if I can do the math, for the new name concepts and the new brand development.
okay.
Yeah, so the original contract was just Phase 1 and Phase 4 and Phase 5 on the screen that we have there on page 537 of the packet. So we were to go through the process that we went through on December 15th, and then there would be a selection, and then we would go through development of whatever was selected to help with collateral and fundraising. What this is doing is basically going back and redoing that first process again because there wasn't a desire for any of the brand ideas that were presented. So we're asking them to do this work again, basically.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. When we originally signed for Phase 1, Phase 4, Phase 5, was it clear, because I don't recall, but then again, I didn't memorize the whole thing. Was it clear that we were only going to take the first round of design that the fact that we've sent it back, is that against what we agreed to?
Yeah, if there was I can't remember, was it 2? Yeah, if we had additional rounds of changes, I mean, I'm looking at the agreement right now.
Yeah.
If additional rounds of changes are needed, the project is subject to a change order.
Got it. Okay, so that's what this is. Okay. Yeah, I had reservations before. I still have reservations in the sense that I would like to see, in my mind, I don't necessarily need to see other companies actually do this. I would just like to see a different quote for what it takes to do this process. Because maybe Ticey is the option we want to, I still want to consider them, if that makes sense. I would just like to see, price-wise, what this looks like from others. And I will also say that I don't want to completely abandon some of the things that we received from that first Phase 1. The colors and some of those things I think were helpful. So, I mean, I want to use a little bit of the money we spent there. But yeah, I would be open to seeing other quotes.
So,
I guess I have a reservation going to phase 3 when we don't even know. They can come up with a list of names and we're gonna be right back where we are. I mean, yeah, I'd hate to see them put work into developing any ideas or any formats or any logos or designs until we pick a name. And
Yeah,
And I
that's,
guess I'm willing to commit that, like, okay, yeah, it takes some time to pull the list together, but that could very well be that we'll still be not finding anything we like. And I guess I'd be okay with the 2250, but committing into the actual round of brand development, I first want to see if I found something I like. Does that make sense?
Well, how would you like to proceed? Or does Compass starting to sound a lot better?
Or Oregon Senior and Community Center is starting to sound a lot better.
Well, it's, yes, that is also true.
How is the contract organized? Like, did we already sign a contract for all of these phases, or is it pay as you go, like each phase, and then we can add and say, yes, we're gonna do the next phase, or no, we're not, or?
I believe that we can commit to any phases that we want to. However, I would think that if you're only wanting to commit to phase 2, that you may want to see a different change order than the one here. If you only want to commit to the 2250, I would, we could certainly ask Tycee to submit a change order that stops at the end of phase 2. See whether they're willing to do that. I mean, that's their decision, I guess.
That the path forward, right, for tonight, or?
I think so, and then I think I'd like to reserve the opportunity to consider other companies if we're not happy with the names that come back from that.
Yeah, well, I think that's, that's always an option, is to change course. So, the short term is to have Rachel ask them to, re-quote. Is that,
Just phase 2.
Just the phase 2.
Just submit a change order that limits the village's contract with them to an additional 2250 for what is now labeled as phase 2.
right? Okay, we got a motion to
I
that
would make
effect.
that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, further discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Thank you, everyone. 8C, Village Board Strategic Planning Process. I think Martin laid out a very reasonable plan for this, and that we'll have a new board after April 1st, and it would make perfect sense. Yeah, sorry, April 1st, not April 1st. And it makes sense to me anyway that we defer until then.
I agree.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Lynn?
I only wanted to make a comment here. Martin, you're a memo genius. You write a great memo. I am going to disagree, though, with this line that says, with this known change of Trustee Peterson filing non-candidacy, albeit small. It's not small. It's a big deal. It's a big change. We
She
will
said,
greatly
albeit
miss you.
only one.
Aw, shucks. Thank you.
Very good. So,
There's no malice behind that, I promise.
Yeah, none taken.
Sorry, Martin.
so let's have a motion to postpone indefinitely, and then we can add it back to the agenda anytime. So motion by Tim, second by Paige. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 9, New business item for discussion and or possible action, A, village administrator annual performance evaluation review process. Tom?
I believe in your packet, you have the sample form that we've used for the last couple of years at least. In vein of even the last thing that we just talked about making sure we have staff time, I'm wondering if we might consider an abbreviated review. We should complete a review. But maybe just keep it to simple comments submitted. And then maybe just a couple of us, maybe Phil and I, as head of the Finance and Personnel Committee, would meet with Martin and go over it with him, rather than, I'm looking out here and it's like, started going to go counting all the number of hours it would take to complete another form and another item, and then tabulation of it and so forth. So I'm suggesting that we consider, I'm happy to do the full review if that's where everybody wants to go. I'm happy to do the tabulation and in the same process that we've used in prior years, but just suggesting for your consideration, possibly doing an abbreviated review this year.
So basically, we just go with page 5 of the evaluation, is that what you're saying?
I think, I would agree with Tom. If you look at it, it's not an insignificant amount of staff time.
Staff would be encouraged to submit any comments, and we would keep them confidential, as we have in the past.
Right.
But
But not required to
Yes.
submit comments.
No.
That sound good, everybody?
does that meet there is a, I believe in the contract that you would be provided an annual review, but I would think that would be sufficient to meet that requirement.
Yeah, it just says annual review with my input and no input to add,
And you're
whatever the
comfortable
board
with
prefers.
what
Yeah.
you suggested?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Amanda.
I just want to be respectful to Rick, who's not here. He hasn't been on the board that long. I don't know. Like, there would be no reason why you want to do a full review for any reason, right? I mean, I don't think he's had that
If he wants to fill
opportunity
out the whole form, I'd be happy to take it from him.
I mean, I just didn't know if that's something to consider for people who haven't filled out a full version before for Martin. I don't know.
My only other question was just data. Like, do we keep data throughout each year? Is that going to impact anything as far as the survey goes? Like, do we? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's,
There's no cumulative data.
it really, it comes down to what the board prefers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen a variety of different evaluations scored, qualitative, kind of like what we're discussing here. I think, for me, I think the one thing I look for is just the board speaking with one voice rather than getting 7 different voices. I want the board to be able to agree on, at least come to consensus on one voice, like I'm hearing one evaluation. And how that's, whether it's scored or just qualitative, it's fine with me.
I'm good
Okay.
with it then.
Okay.
The short.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion on that. Let's move on. Item 10, report of village officers, department heads, and consultants. This is for information only. In your packet is the village administrator report. Questions? Item B, police chief report. Media release dated January 6, 2026 regarding the Village of Oregon Police Department's second place finish in the Police One recruitment video recognition program. Chief. Ned? Yeah.
Thank you. I'll just add that obviously this was Sergeant Colson's project, did a phenomenal job. We've been trying to get as much spin off of this as we can because having, the Observer, having NBC 15 come in, then they share that on their platforms. It's just more and more. I'm getting more invites on LinkedIn. I mean, I thought my account was dead, to be honest. But now it's just blowing up. So clearly it's bringing a lot of attention to our department, and really good attention, so, thank you for your support with it too, appreciate it.
Thank you. Item C, Finance Director Report, billing permits, impact fees, connection fees collected for 2025. Question for Lisa? Hearing none. Go ahead.
I actually have a question for Martin. So are these the growth that our taxes are
Yeah.
based off of then? So we'd be getting a lower amount this year for levy increase than last year? Is that-
Possibly.
So it's complicated.
Yes, I think what the data on here, the value is self-reported, if I understand that from building permits. What happens between self-reported data to assessment, analysis, and then what gets translated from that into what the DOA or DOR does for related to the property tax purposes. There's some interesting things that happen between all of those things. So I guess what I would say is, I mean, myself, just looking at it, it's going to be pretty close. I mean, I think we're going to be in the same ballpark as we were this last year, last year was the highest year for new construction that I think the village has ever had in terms of value, and we're right there. So I expect it's going to be pretty similar. I mean, we had 84 single-family home builds. I didn't think we could have more than 80 than we had in 2024, but we did. So yeah, I feel good about what I'm seeing here in terms of how things transpired last year in terms of the levy limit.
Anybody else? Okay, let's see, 11, announcements and miscellaneous business announcements, comments, communications, upcoming meetings, events, miscellaneous business. 1, pancake breakfast and bake sale, Sunday, January 25th, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Oregon Area Senior Center on Park Street.
Everybody's welcome. The temperature outside is gonna be cold, but the food is gonna be warm.
Okay, there's your tagline. Okay, let's see. Number 2, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Clean Water Fund Program State Fiscal Year 2026 funding list includes low-interest loan financial assistance, including $1,456,093 for the Richard Rose Lift Station Rehab Project and $1,868,583 for the North Oak Street Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project, which is, I'm sure, all good news.
Yep.
Yep.
All very good.
Reduced rates. Oh, I'm sorry. Additional announcements from staff, please.
This wasn't listed in the agenda, but the 235 North Main Street Park grant opportunity that I discussed at the last village board meeting, we discussed with Park Board last week too, and have mailed out neighbor letters. So there's a neighborhood meeting if you'd like to attend. Candy's listed it for possible quorum for village board and Park Board. It's next Thursday, January 29th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the community room at the library. So we'll explain kind of the opportunity to the neighborhood and then do a short engagement activity about park amenities alongside that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Where's the meeting at?
At the library in the community room.
Any other department heads? No? And village board members, announcements? Seeing none. Future agenda items. I will like to add one, that is to discuss the senior center fundraising committee. Objection, okay. Anybody else? Item 12, as our business is conducted without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.